Morning everybody, Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates here. You can see I have my workout clothes on this morning. That's because it is time to get to work. It is time to start putting together my floss, organizing my floss for the Farewell to Anger Sal. And it's gonna be some work. So I thought I would film a video and show you how I do it, since my method is a little bit different. All right, a lot different from how most people do it. So I thought you'd be interested in seeing it and see how it comes together. It's not rocket science, but you know, we videotape things these days, so I thought I'd put one together for you. All right, I am going to turn you around and we're gonna get started. All right, so I have all of the supplies kind of out in front of me here on my workspace. I have the coin pocket pages that I got from Amazon. Those will be linked below. I have double-sided tape. This is removable double-sided tape because I do want to be able to use these coin pockets again. I have tabs that I will be putting on the pages. I have sticky backed felt. I have a printout of the colors used in the pattern, and I have a binder. Now the binder will come in last, so I'm going to put that aside and get that out of the way. So the main thing, the first thing I need to do is, actually we're going to talk about the coin pages. These are meant for collectors of coins or collectors of stamps. Like I said, you can get them on Amazon. I don't know whether you can see the dividing lines. Let me pull this under here. They come in different sizes, and I've experimented with the different sizes, and most of them are too small to actually get your fingers in to get to the floss, get the floss in and out of, because what I will be doing is cutting off lengths of floss and putting them in these pockets. Now these pockets are very big, so I actually use 2 different colors in each pocket. So there are 12 pockets on a page, so I get 24 colors on each page. Now, as you can see, the orientation of the pocket is, the holes of course are over here on this side, and this is my not having any experience with coin collecting. This was my first instinct. You'll see that there is a flap on these, and the flap is actually held down by this little ribbon of plastic, I guess I'd say, so that it'll keep the coins from falling out, because you figure in these bigger pockets it's going to be heavier coins, so they actually have a little flap here that holds the flap, or they have this little tie here that holds the flap down. So the first thing is to take the little flap out from behind that, because I don't need that with the floss. Now, like I said, my first run at this was, this is the front, this is where the flap is, so this must be the front of the pocket of the page. Well, of course, I'm wrong. Think of it like an envelope, where that's actually the back. They put their coins or their stamps in here, and they view it from the other side unobstructed. So that puts, in my first instinct, making this the front meant that the holes are on the wrong side. Well, that's kind of odd. You know, it's like I'm reading right to left instead of left to right. It was just backwards to what we're used to. But that's because I was backward. So this is actually the front of the page, right? Thinking of this as an envelope, so that the collectors can see whatever is in here unobstructed. So the way I did it for the Santa Fe decor was, I put all the information here on what is the back of the page. And having the flap kind of meant that I only had like this much room to work with, instead of this much room to work with to put the felt and to put the numbers and the you know, the floss number and symbol and all that. So I was working with it back here, right? And since this is here, it's kind of like I was just limited to this, what was underneath the flap. And I'm still going back and forth on what I want to be the front and what I want to be the back. because even if I, if I put the information here, I'm still going to have to flip it over in order to access the pocket to get my floss out when I need to start a new strand. But if it's here, I can put a bigger piece of felt, which is good because I want the floss on the needle to be stuck in here, and I roll up the floss and have it attached to the felt. And it's only periodically that I actually have to access the pocket. So I think I am going to make this the front, what is supposed to be the front from now on. Okay, so first thing is cutting off strips of the felt. And like I said, this is sticky felt that I will be sticking on each one of these pockets. So I'm gonna move everything out of the way. And I don't measure, I'm sure there are people out there that would measure this and like use a consistent amount of felt on each pocket. Probably measure how much you could use to get the most, I just don't do that. But I'm gonna cut it at about, I think an inch wide strip. And see how that works. So I have my cutter here. This is kind of an old, not as sharp as I would like thing. All right. Not the straightest, but like I said, I don't really care. And then I need about, let's see, the pockets are, about 2.5 inches. I'm gonna cut a piece of felt that's about 2 inches. So that I will measure. And that leaves me then with some left over. And like I said, there's probably people who would measure this out so they get an even amount. But what this means is I'll just use a couple small pieces on one of the pockets. So I don't feel that's a great loss. And I'll just kind of go through this first row. Showing you how I do this. All right, so that's my felt. Now, for the floss numbers, labeling each pocket, like I said, I'm going to be putting 2 colors in each pocket. And this didn't print out super big, but what I wanted, the information I want to have is definitely the symbol and the color number. And I'm going to go ahead and put that colored block on there as well. Using Pattern Keeper like I do, the app Pattern Keeper, it has the color also listed there. So it'll just help me kind of double check to make sure that that is the right floss that I want. Now, I am going to use my double-sided tape, and I think I'm going to put just one strip down here and another strip down here. So that means I'll have to cut out both. Just making sure where this is. So this strip is not going to cover the full area of both the colored symbol and the colored square and the symbol, but that's okay. The symbol's most important, so if I get all of that and some of the color, that will be just fine. Turn it over. Excuse me while I put this up to the light. All right, it didn't get any of the color. This is removable though. I want to make sure I don't cut off the symbol at all. That first time it was pretty much the symbol was smack dab in the middle of the tape. All right, so there's that. And then the color number. So that is this column coming down here. Double check where I'm at here. All right, so now it's just a matter of cutting these out. I'm going to start by just using this and cutting it out of the paper. That there. That one there. All right, and now I'm going to get scissors and trim and actually put on my glasses. No, we don't use our fabric scissors. All right, that's not too bad. Trim off a little bit on this side. And like I said, there are going to be 2 colors on each square. So I'm just going to leave these together and do that. Let me go ahead and trim the numbers down so I don't lose track of what symbols and colors go together. Of course, I could just keep my, I have the digital copy, so I could just keep that next to me so I can double check. But since we're just doing the first couple of slots up here, we'll just do the first couple of slots. All right, so on this first pocket, and I think this is the hardest part, getting the double stick part, the backing off of this double stick tape, because what wants to happen is there, the tape side wants to come off. All right, so there is our symbols. If anybody has a quick way to do this, share it with me. Okay, after a little more fussing, I was able to get it off. So, voila. Next. Okay, so after fussing around much longer than I want to with this, trying to get the adhesive backing off, I decided I'm just going to tape them down. Much faster, done in one swipe. Like I said, that Scotch tape is going to come off. This way they're protected. It's quick. I'm going to go ahead and put some tape over these first ones. I don't have to worry about them coming off. So, That's the beginning of the setup. Easy peasy once you get rid of the double-sided tape. All right, so what we do next then is get the floss. Now, what I would do, or what I will be doing, is cutting out all the felt and attaching all that. Then coming back and cutting out all the numbers and attaching those. And then getting the floss. But I'm going to show you, like I said, I wanted to show you the beginning. One thing I do when I'm starting to set this up, I'm cutting off a length of floss to store in the pocket so I don't have to be going to my floss holders every time I need more floss. And what I try and do is look at, you know, the Heaven and Earth Designs do provide an amount used for each of the colors. So I look at, when I'm cutting off the floss, I look at that and try and decide how much I need. And one thing I did forget to mention, I have all the floss for this project separate. I bought it separate and it's still just all like jumbled in a bag. So I'm just going to my main inventory to pull this out just to show you, just because it's easier and it's more organized. So DMC 150, it uses 1,039 stitches, so about 1/4 of a skein. I don't know how much 1/4 of a skein is as far as lengths are concerned. So, but that's quite a bit. And I'm not going to cut all this off since it's my main inventory. I'm just going to show you. So I have a piece cut here. I'm going to take that. When I pull out the floss that I've bought specially for this project, I will cut out enough to use. So 1/4 of a skein. I'll just cut off, you know, a bunch and put them in here. So this is going to go in here. But the first thing I'm going to do to get started, and for these, I'm doing 1/1 on 25 count. And I will be parking. And I don't like to have really long threads hanging down, and I don't need really long threads. When you're stitching over one, you don't need to have, I mean, a length of thread goes pretty far. So I try to keep my cuts to about 12 to 18 inches, certainly no longer than that. So I go ahead and thread a needle, stick it in there, and I pull it the whole way down so that the bottoms are even, just so there's not any strange ends hanging around. And this needle just gets woven in here, and that just gets wound up and put in there, and this goes in the pocket. And so the next color is 152. 152 uses 2,992, pretty much 3/4 of a skein. So again, oops, helps if I find the end. Where's the end? I'm going to cut off a length. Not too long. Take a strand and separate it out. So as I said, I wouldn't do this until I have all of the numbers on here and all of the felt attached. Stick that in there. Whoops, I missed. Stick that in the pocket. Oh, for heaven's sakes, that's because I'm going down through that little secure thingy. Stick it in the pocket. Get another needle. Get it threaded. weave this in, and these needles are really secure in here. They are not going anywhere until I'm ready to pull it out. I loop that around so it's wound up on there, and then just stick it to the felt. And I have to tell you, this method works really well for me. Can see the floss in there. Now granted, there will be a whole lot more pieces of floss in there, right, than what I have in there now, since I need basically most of a skein for the pink color for 152. So these pockets are going to be pretty loaded, but once I get all of this done, then it just gets stored in a binder. Well, first what I will do is take the tab. Once I get all of the colors on here and I know what the color range is, I'll go ahead and stick a tab on here. Actually, that won't work on that side. Where shall I put the tab? That's a good question. I think I'm going to put it... It's a very good question. So it needs to be lower than that. I could put it like this and still write the color numbers on it. So the tab will go there. I'll put the color range, what all shades are on this particular one, and then it just goes in my binder. And so I have my binder handy. These holes don't line up. There we go. So many different choices of holes. So then I'll have my binder handy. I just keep this right by me. And when I need to put a needle back, I can just thread it into the felt. When I need to get another color, I can come here and find it and pull it out of the felt. And if I need a new strand, I already have a bunch loaded in here. I don't have to go to my main inventory and pull out one of my bags and pull it out of there. So I do find that it speeds things up some. Yes, there is some processing here at the beginning. I don't think it's any more than what you're going to be doing if you're bobbinating. So yeah, and it's cheap. The set of, I think there are a pack of 10 of these 12 pocket coin pages is like $12. The binder was what, $5? Something like that, $5 or $6. These little tabs are a couple dollars. And the felt is, I got this at Ben Franklin, and it might be 81 cents a sheet. Maybe it's $1 a sheet. Probably cheaper where you live, because it's going to be more expensive out here on the island. So I got the binder and the coin pockets at Amazon. I will link those below. And that's about it, guys. I mean, it's not hard. I've been getting these DMC needles from Walmart. They are $1.44 for a pack of 6 here in the Walmarts here. I've had some people say that, you know, they've had trouble with the eye really fraying their floss with the DMC. I think in the, goodness, probably 50 to 100 packs that I've bought at this point, I've had 1 or 2 that do that. For the most part, these are good needles. They are perfectly fine. They are not as good as Pat's favorite needles. They are also not as expensive. And since I have to get a ton of these, this has 89 colors, so I do want to have a needle for every color. Yeah, I appreciate 6 for $1.44. That's in line with my budget. So anyways, I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. And hopefully over the next few days, I will have this done and I can show it to you on one of my future floss tubes. I will definitely have it done by the end of the year, because January 1st, that's when our SAL starts. Hashtag farewell to anger, SAL. I hope you will join us. Until then, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.